Hello and welcome to my channel Inspiring Life Changes. My name's Colette and I'm here today to do a reading for all Virgos out there. That's Sun, Moon, Venus and Rising Virgos. And if you don't know where those placements are, like your Moon, Rising and your Venus, there will be a free link in the description box down below for you to go and check out your astrological natal chart, because I may also bring in some more astrology depending on whether or not I think that it's relevant to the actual reading. So I'm going to apologise, Virgos, for not getting this out. If you are aware of any of my other videos, I have been doing a lot of apologising to all the sun signs for not having got these out. Personal reasons which I'm not going to go into, but I am really going to do my best to get these all out before the end of January. So I think I've got about 4 or 5 days left. So I've set your 2020 reading out, Virgo, in the form of a clock. So each number represents a month of the year and each month has 2 cards on it from 2 separate decks, because I like to get more of a kind of, rather than what I call a flat reading, it gives you more ability to use the energies more than once if they want to come out in the actual reading. I will say immediately before I start this reading that there is a lot of reverse cards here, Virgo. So for me, for me, reverse readings or reverse cards kind of have the meaning of situations that have not been dealt with yet. I know these are kind of in the future as well, but because they're in reverse, it's kind of saying to me that it's situations that have been hanging around for some time, maybe, that haven't been dealt with, haven't been kind of looked at, have kind of been swept to the side maybe. And there is a lot of reverse cards in this particular reading. So there is also 2 overall energies for the year of 2020, Virgo. So I will start the reading off with the first card in the centre of the reading. And you've got the Strength card here, which is saying it's up the right way. So that's good. And it's saying that there's a need here for you to really dig deep this year. That's what I think this is about. It's about you really digging deep into your inner strength, finding your inner strength and not being affected by the things that are going to come up over this year. Because you may find that you're going to have a lot of situations in this year of 2020. They're going to call on you to really find that inner kind of mental strength, rather than this being a physical strength, even though it looks like it's a physical strength card. For me, because it's inside the cave, and caves always represent to me the kind of inner realm, the inner being. So this to me is saying that this is about finding that strength from within yourself, taming your like situations where you might want to flare up and kind of get angry about things, that there's going to be a need here for you to kind of reserve that strength, kind of not to go all out into situations. And also that this year in particular, you may find that this is what you're going to achieve out of this year as well. That you will find this inner strength for yourself so that you're not so affected by situations or people. What people think, what people say. In this card here, Heracles, or Hercules as he's known, is killing this lion, which is a magical beast, And the only way he can do it is literally with his bare hands, because the sword, if you see it down here, it's all bent and buckled, and all the weapons that he's tried to use just kind of spring off of this magical hide, if you like, this magical lion. So when he's actually killed this beast, he can then wear the skin, which he does, which kind of makes him invincible. And that's kind of the message behind this card, is that it's kind of transforming that inner to the outer layer, so that you're not easily affected by situations that come up in your life. And this is the first card that came out. And it's come out with the Ace of Fire, which is a beautiful card. It is in reverse. So it's saying to me there's a situation here in 2020 of you being able to create something really beautiful, because the aces are all about something new, a new energy, and being fire, it's all about creativity. If you look at it the right way up, there's this kind of little fairy here. It's very difficult to see, but she is actually holding a little red heart in her hands as well. So this could have something to do with kind of the fire and passion in your life, and kind of starting something new down that road. Maybe a business relationship, maybe an actual relationship with somebody, or maybe a business for yourself, but it's something to do with a creative endeavour. Because it's in reverse, it's saying to me, and because it's come out with the Inner Strength card as well, this is why I feel that there's going to be situations where you are going to have to really dig deep to find that inner strength, to maybe even keep this going, because you may feel that you want to give up on it at times, because it's in reverse. It's not kind of coming out saying this is straightforward and this is easy. Whatever this is, it is saying to me that it's going to take your effort, it's going to take your strength, it's going to take your time and your energy and your kind of ingenuity as well. But this is not about brute force, even though it looks like it is in this card. It actually isn't about brute force. It's about transforming that kind of anger that we get, that you know, even from childhood, when we kind of stamp our feet and we get kind of really frustrated at situations that we don't seem to have any control over, or we don't seem to have any say in. So and as children we don't really. So you know, it's all left to the adults to sort our worlds out for us. So this is kind of saying that this is about taking those temper tantrums, if you like, and kind of turning them into something productive, and not allowing your outer strength to take over. So those are the energies, that's not a word, energies for 2020, overall energies, and I may return to those as well as I go through the reading, Virgo. And the first card that comes out in January, which is almost over, I know, and I do apologise again, the Four of Coins in reverse is saying to me there's a situation here of not wanting to let something go. It's very much about restriction, and it kind of, for me, represents the energy of the Capricorn energy, if you like, which is the January energy of Saturn kind of holding on, restricting, not allowing the new to come through, because this is what this is here. This is the new, this is new ventures, new ideas, and it kind of relates very much, I think, to this card as well. This little person here is the new energy that is wanting to come into your life. And this is kind of you, if you like, in the background. This is new you and old you. And old you is holding on to something very tightly and does not want to let new you kind of grow into something productive, but not only productive, but again, just kind of new, because this is new energy. Creative, passionate, driving. So you're holding back. And it's come out with the Wheel of Fortune also in reverse. So there is a situation here, I feel, where you feel very strongly that it's out of your hands, but you're holding on really tightly because you do not want to let that new in. You want to keep it the way it has been, but the wheel is turning. You can't stop that wheel from turning. All you can do is kind of go with that ride. But you're very reluctant to do so. If you look here, there is a little person there as well, which I kind of relate to being you at the centre of the wheel. And in some ways this is what we need to learn as well, is that we are at the centre of our own wheels of fortune. We are the ones that kind of send out the energy that decides where the wheel is going to turn to. It also for me relates to the kind of astrological clock as well, and the bigger clock beyond that. So it talks about cycles within time, and how things have endings and beginnings as well. But I get the feeling here that this is saying that there is something that you feel is out of your hands, something that you kind of tried to hold on to, but you're having to admit to yourself you've got to kind of let that go and go with the flow, go with the turning wheel, if you like. That things are moving on, things are changing, and you may not like it, but it's going to bring a new you into 2020. And in February, which is just about to come up, we have the Four of Swords, again in reverse. So again, there's this kind of feeling of resistance, of reluctance, of not wanting to listen, because this is all about listening to the inner voice in many ways. It's all about time out, it's about meditating on something, it's about kind of giving yourself a chance to... I get the feeling with this being upside down, it's about you not giving yourself the time to sit back and not try to mess with the situation or force a situation, or because this is what, when it's upright, it's kind of saying, you know, don't meddle with it, don't kind of force a situation, sit back, give yourself time to think things through. And this, I think, is also where the Strength card is coming in as well. And kind of don't rush into something. Don't kind of, you know, don't always come from that place of force somehow, Virgo. Of wanting to kind of... how can I put it? Wanting to... wanting to, what's the words that are coming into my head and I can't quite get them. Almost like that Virgo need to kind of sort everything out, kind of have everything in its place, kind of have, I suppose in some ways, control. I think that's the bigger word here, is that you can't control this. You want to control it, but you can't control it. But you don't want to give yourself that space. And it has come out with the Hangman as well. The Hangman is up the right way. And the Hangman is saying all about kind of like you need to hang upside down, literally, to kind of get a different perspective on this situation. In February, it's calling for a release, a surrender, a letting go, a letting the wheel, if you like, which kind of has this kind of same circular disc here as well, that you're kind of hanging on this wheel of fate, wheel of fortune, fate's wheel. And that, because this is a major arcana card, this is a minor arcana card, but this is a major arcana card, so this is kind of saying to me that as much as you might want to get involved and get answers and kind of put your opinion in and make yourself known in this situation, you really, the best thing that you can do here is to kind of just let it be. Just let it be. Just kind of surrender to it. Surrender to the sacrifice of it. Whatever that sacrifice for you has to be. There is a releasing and a letting go in this card. But it's also a recognition as well with this thread here. It kind of reminds me of the fact that we are connected to something much bigger, which is what I think this is also talking about, the turning of the wheel. And that we have to sometimes just let go and let things be. So that's the energy that's coming up for you in February, Virgo. And need to kind of, I would say, meditate on a situation. I would say kind of remove yourself from the situation and just allow that energy to settle, maybe just to settle, so that you don't kind of rush in and do something that you might regret later. And in March you have the Six of Cups, again in reverse. So this is all about nostalgia and melancholy. Being in reverse, it's saying to me that this could be a situation that you've kind of avoided up to now. Something that you've kind of just, you thought that everything was okay, and then all of a sudden you're kind of hit with the reality of the nostalgia. Often this card would represent like the Six of Cups being the kind of past history, soulmate, somebody from your childhood, somebody that you're mourning over in many ways. It's a loss of something. Each of these cups here kind of represents an emotional situation that has occurred, and this cup here is the kind of present emotional situation that you're kind of dwelling on and kind of looking into and kind of trying to work out how you got to where you are. And it has come out with the Hierophant. So I'm just checking, yeah, the Hierophant was also in reverse. So these two have come out together in reverse. And normally this card for me would represent a kind of an alternative, or a very kind of your own connection to the divine. That's how I usually see this card, is it's your own connection to the divine source of energy, however you connect with that, whether that's through a religion or whether that's through your own ideas. But because it's come out with this card here today, I think that this has got something to do with a loss of a personal relationship. And that could have something to do with a relationship in faith as well. You might be kind of losing your faith in something, whether that's a person, whether that's a situation. But there are these, where is it? Yeah, if you look here, there is these two rings as well. So it could also relate to marriage for some of you as well, Virgo. It could relate to possibly a loss of faith in a marriage that you've been in, because of course the Hierophant also represents the priest. It represents the person who puts two people together, shall we say, who connects two people via wedding rings. And although to me this is not a traditional Hierophant card, I do think that there is something about this card today that is kind of saying that this is about a loss of faith, because of the nostalgic melancholy as well. That somebody is kind of mourning something very traditional, very something that they committed to, they committed themselves to it, and now it's no longer there. So this is what's coming through in March for you Virgos. And it may be kind of a realization of what you actually are leaving behind, if you like, what you are moving away from, what you did have. And so there may also be a questioning, like I said, there may also be a questioning of your own faith within all this as well. Where do you stand within your own world, as well as the bigger world? Because if this is about partners splitting up, divorces happening, which I get quite a strong feeling that it may well be, Virgos, then this is kind of saying, you know, where do I stand in the world now? Where's my faith? Where do I place my faith? Where do I no longer have this where I put my faith before, which was a faith in somebody else. Faith that somebody else was always going to be there with you, which is what these rings kind of represent here as well. So in April, we come into the energy of, yet again, the Hangman. But the Hangman this time is in reverse. And so I feel very much that this is about, because it's kind of in between, this energy is kind of in between two Hangman cards here and here, even with this energy here as well. But very strongly, this energy, and this energy are all major arcana cards. They're all major arcana cards, and they're all, sorry, that one's upside down, and they're all kind of one after the other. So I get the feeling that there's a situation that you maybe have thought you'd dealt with, or you thought that you'd kind of been hung out to dry even. But it's come out with a 9 of fire, which for me here is all about transformation. It's all about kind of being one thing and that turns into something else. So it's almost saying to me today that there is something almost, I mean, this is a very magical card to me anyway, in that sense that this is kind of, you know, this magic is taking place as these stars turn into these firelights, or these firelights turn into these stars. It depends which way around you look at it. But there's kind of this magic happening here. It's come out with this Hangman in reverse, which is a very kind of different energy to this Hangman. Because this Hangman talks about how this was Prometheus who gave this energy here, the fire energy. He literally gave it to the human race so that they could become more than what we are, or what we were, should I say. So maybe there's also an element of that here as well. That in letting go, in allowing that to transform and transcend and transmute and change, you will become more than what you were, Virgo. And as difficult as that may be to see that at this present time, I think that's the message here. That in letting go and surrendering to the bigger picture, if you like, things will change automatically. You will change. Not just the situation. That if you want to change the situation, then you have to let go of it in order for yourself to change, which is what this is all about. This is about change. It's about releasing the old you in order to create the new you. And I think that's quite, the message seems to be coming through quite strongly here so far in this first half of 2020, Virgo. We have just had, and we are still having, the Saturn-Pluto conjunction happening in January, which is what this energy for me is all about. And also it will be ongoing. It's an ongoing energy. It's not an energy that's just for the one day, although it was exact on January the 12th. And they have kind of separated by 1 degree now, Saturn and Pluto, but they're still in conjunction. And because they're so slow moving, they are going to carry on being in conjunction for quite some time. So it's going to have quite long-lasting knock-on effect with what's happening in our lives. So this could be a part of that energy as well, because Pluto is very much about this kind of transforming on a deeper inner level. And I get the feeling that this is what this is about for you, Virgos, this year. And as we get into June, we have the 2 of Pentacles, which is up the right way. And this is about you starting out again. This is about, well, this is about something that you're going to start putting your energy and your time and your effort and your self into, which I think relates to this new creative endeavour, if you like, this fire energy that you're going to start looking at the world. This is about you rebuilding your world in many ways. It's about you standing at your table, standing on your own 2 feet, tools in your hand, and saying, right, okay, I've been through that. Now what? Now what do I do? What do I do in my world? What do I do in my life? What am I going to start making here? Because it's Pentacles, it's very much about the physical world. It's very much about the grounding yourself in the physical world and creating something within the physical world. But it's like being back at this table. So it kind of, the table and the situation kind of for me represents you possibly I just get the feeling that it's about you kind of viewing your whole life in this way, not just kind of a situation or a relationship, or this is kind of like, I get the feeling this is an overall view of your life, if you like, that you're ready to kind of start something fresh, ready to move into new areas of your life that you've not done before. And it's come out with the 9 of Air, which normally talks about the kind of nightmares and kind of the worst possible scenarios. It's a mental card in the sense that it's all about the logic thinking brain, because it's air, and air represents our thoughts and our day-to-day kind of way that we deal with the world. And normally the 9 of Air or 9 of Swords would be seen as a card of desperation, really kind of mentally seeing no way out of a situation. But I don't get that so much with this card. I feel this is more like similar to you kind of standing on your own 2 feet again. Kind of, it's precarious. There's a kind of precariousness here because you don't really know exactly what you're doing. But there's also, with her wings outstretched as well, it's almost like she's balancing. She's in a balancing act. And the 2s often kind of represent balancing. And also with her wings outstretched, as I was going to say, that she's also kind of open to things. So it's like she's open to new ideas, all these kind of birds dancing around her. Kind of representation of new ideas, new thoughts coming in. What are you going to allow into your life as well? What thoughts are you going to allow to take you on your path, on your new path, if you like? I think that's the message from this particular card that I'm getting today. It's not so much about a feeling of heaviness, and if anything it's more about a feeling of being kind of lifted up but still precarious, still kind of, yeah, and kind of you don't really know where you're going and what you're doing, but you are open, maybe even open to suggestions, open to new ideas, new ways of looking at the world, which is very much this hangman energy as well. You may find that after you come out of both of these hangman energies, I'll just pick that up, sorry about that, Virgo. Once you come out of these energies, you are going to feel a lot more like you are kind of on top of things, almost like you're being lifted above all of that strife down there. But it has come out in June with the 3 of Swords, which is reversed. And so you may find that you find yourself back in a situation that you have not kind of totally left behind here. Something that you're still needing to heal from. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to be in your environment as such, that this isn't something that's actually going to hurt you or happen to you, but something that maybe you're needing to heal from. And I say that because it's come out with the messenger of water, and water for me is all about the psyche, it's all about the kind of healing element. Water represents compassion and the emotions and feelings and intuition and the understanding of things. The messenger of water, for me, I kind of get the feeling here that you are awakening to something, that this healing process is going on. You kind of opening your eyes very slowly to kind of look at this. Up until now, you've kind of tried to avoid it. You've tried to kind of just get on with life and kind of move through it. But in June, something's going to kind of bring it into your attention, and it's a healing that's going to take place. Because this is, although it doesn't look like it is a cathartic card as well, because it kind of helps you to see through the belief of what you thought a situation was compared to how it actually is. And I'm not saying that it's not going to be painful, because literally it feels like being stabbed in the heart. But it's almost like giving yourself time to actually recognise it. This little kind of seahorse here, for me at this moment, it's kind of representing your allowance of accepting this situation, and also seeing that it's that it is a healing process that you're going through, rather than suppressing it. Kind of almost like you are coming to a point where you're kind of ready to unfurl that towel, because I feel that this is you, Virgo, not this one. This is the kind of healing process. I feel that this isn't a person so much as this is kind of a representation, if you like, of the healing process that you're going to go through on a deeper level of understanding. A kind of connection, maybe a connection with your inner self in some way as well. But this little seahorse for me represents you in the respect of, like, it's kind of getting ready to accept the healing. That's what I'm picking up from this today. I don't think this is about somebody coming into your life. I don't get that so much, as this is about you healing from something painful from your past. Something that you nostalgically have kind of tried to bury and move on from. And in July, we find a situation where somebody is going to be offering you something. Somebody is kind of seeing you as somebody that they want to get to know, somebody that they would like to offer something to. They see your value, they see your worth. Because Pentacles is all about value and worth. They see that you've been working hard. They see what you've accomplished. But you're hesitant. You've got your hand on your chin here, Virgo. And this doesn't have to be the masculine, feminine thing. Again, in all my readings, I will say that there is both within all of us. So take it as it comes. Take it however you wish to see it. But there is this kind of hesitancy to accept whatever it is that's going to be offered to you. And it doesn't have to be offered by somebody either, but almost like, because of the colour of her dress as well, the kind of divine purple, kind of crown chakra colour, that this could be something that is being divinely offered to you. But you still have this kind of hesitancy, and you still aren't fully trusting in yourself enough to be able to believe. It's almost like a kind of, really? Am I worth that? Is that really what I can have? but also this kind of side view that's thinking, well, you know, is this something that is going to take me where I want to go? Or is this kind of a distraction that's going to take me down a path that I don't particularly want to go down? And it's kind of unknown as well. There's an unknown element about this, which is why there's this hesitancy. Because it's almost like you had your path set out. You knew where you were going and what you were doing. You kind of started out on one kind of track, shall we say. You've made your choice. But then something comes in to offer you something else. And you're not sure. But it has come out with the transformation card. And this is a beautiful card, because this here, it's difficult to see, but it is actually a phoenix. It's a fire bird, the phoenix rising from the ashes of the past. And this is death as well. In normal tarot, this would be known as the death card, the Pluto card, Pluto energy. Death, birth, rebirth. And it's come out with this card here. So I'm going to say that whatever it is that is offered to you, although it's always your choice, Virgo, your own personal free will, but it's going to transform things on a really, really deep level. A really deep level. Like never going to be the same again. If you accept this, whatever this is, if you accept what's being offered to you, the transformation is going to totally change your life, I feel. Totally transform it. It won't be the same as you imagined it would be. It will totally take you on a different path. And there is a lot of potential in this card as well, because it's the 7. So that's July. And as we move into August, we have the Page of Wands, which is all about kind of leaving one situation and moving into a new one. Leaving the past behind, leaving the dark behind, and kind of leaping ahead into your future. It's a page, so it's a young energy. It's an energy that needs to be nurtured, taken care of. It's a kind of childlike energy. So it could involve a child as well. But it's a situation of moving away from something, movement into something greater, into something bigger. And I get the feeling that this is kind of the transformation which is taking place within yourself on a deeper level, because this is creative energy as well, fire. And in the background you've got this sun which is kind of rising and dispersing all the darkness, just like you with your little wand here, that you've kind of been blazing your way through the dark to see where you're heading. And so this card also talks about the journey itself being more important than the destination, and actually kind of giving yourself time to maybe take detours and not to kind of just jump from A to B, because in doing so you could completely miss something that might be really important and relevant to your journey. And it's come out with the 8 of Air. Now normally the 8 of Air would represent a situation of being trapped in something. And in some senses there is a kind of feeling of that, because she's kind of trapped up here on this cloud. But I also get the feeling that somehow this is again about kind of rising above something in this particular deck, rather than kind of trapping yourself. Like usually it's kind of a figure, as you may well be aware, that's kind of, you know, trapped around with swords. Again, it's a mental energy. So it's all about your own mind keeping you stuck, keeping you in that same place, not allowing you to see any way out of the situation that you're in. But I feel with this card, it's almost like, you know, it's leaping to kind of a new environment, a new way of looking at the world, seeing things kind of higher, from a higher perspective as well, looking down and seeing seeing the bigger picture. And I think that's what this is about as well, is leaping into something that's going to give you more of an advantage and allow you to use your mind so that you're not kind of just seeing something from the smaller perspective, from the kind of like seeing it that close up to your face that you can't see it. This is about kind of rising above something and seeing it from a much kind of grander scale. So I don't see this energy as being a negative energy at all in this particular situation. I see it as giving you a greater advantage. That as you leave something, as you leave your old world behind, which I think is what this transformation card is about as well, transforming yourself out of the old you into the new you, which we were kind of talking about at the very beginning in January as well, this kind of energy of old stuck you that doesn't want the new you to come into being, for fear more than anything else. The fear element of what's around the corner, what's new, what is, you know, what's in my life that I'm going to have to deal with, I'm going to have to cope with, and if I don't know what's coming, then I can't be prepared. How am I going to prepare myself for it? But that is all this kind of mental anxiety that we trap ourselves in and stop ourselves from actually experiencing something, which is also what this could be about as well, because you don't know where it could lead you. So Virgo, as we move into September, you have the Eight of Pentacles. And this is saying to me that you've kind of reached a place of success. Each of these cards here are coins here represent your having mastered. This is your mastery, if you like. This is your kind of what you've had to go through in order to get to this place here. So for me, this is you standing again at the table. But whereas before you were kind of beginning something, this is about you having worked through, and now you're mastering. This is your mastery here. You know what you're doing. It's almost like working on yourself as well in some ways. Working on yourself as you work through this. Because it's a very Virgo kind of card as well, being the earth element, but also being kind of very work related, and Virgos, you are all about kind of work and service to others as well. So I feel that as you work through this, you're kind of, it's almost like you're working on yourself at the same time through that work that you're doing. And it's come out with the Five of Air, which is an interesting card because there's very much this sense of being very poised and very kind of balanced. I mean, she's literally on this tightrope here. Very kind of, but she's dancing. She's doing ballet. It's like she's absolutely self-assured in what she's doing. She knows what she's doing. I don't get the sense of any kind of distress here or fear, or it's like almost mastered, because she's mastered it so well that she no longer feels the need to be fearful of it or of herself either. And there is this kind of, what I don't know if it's weird, this, I'm not sure what it is, but it's a circle and it's attached to her hand with this chain, and I kind of see it as a yo-yo, so she's almost like playing. It's almost like it's become play. It's kind of being in that zone, if you like, you know, that zone, that mind zone where you're completely focused, completely knowing what you're doing and who you are. Her leg is kind of, you know, that's her leg pointing out here. It's not her arms. That's one leg's down and the other leg's out, and she's completely like poised. And I get the sense of kind of real, not just self-confidence, but kind of real self-awareness as well here. Real self-awareness coming out with this Eight of Pentacles. This kind of real understanding of your own mastery. And that whereas here, when he first started out, the jealousy, because there is a kind of jealousy in this card between these two, because he's the teacher of this young boy here, which is why he's holding so tightly onto what he has, because he fears his young boy, because this boy is so skilled in what he does for his age. He knows that he's better than he ever was at that age, at what he does. But now it's like he knows that it doesn't matter if there's competition, if you like. He's just as good, and if not better than some. So that's the energy for September. And in October, we have this card here, the Seven of Swords, which is a very dark energy, and it's in reverse as well. So I'm going to say that there's a situation where you're going to have to be careful, Virgos, of somebody who may be trying to kind of hoodwink you, somebody who's kind of trying to deceive you about something, somebody who's going to maybe try to ruin your reputation even. But there is an element here of feeling like, however you're being treated with this card here, you have to keep your cards close to your chest. You can't let that other person know what you're doing, what you're thinking, what you're planning. Seven of Swords is not a nice energy. It really isn't. If you put it up the right way, you can see that these kind of swords here, shadow of these swords that he's holding and carrying, are kind of almost like I kind of look at it like a porcupine or a hedgehog who have the ability to kind of protect themselves with their spines. And it's saying to me, you know, watch your back. Watch your back, especially as it's come out reversed. If it was up the other way, I would say, you know, this is more about you kind of having to deal with a situation in a kind of manner that doesn't suit you, doesn't sit well with you, but at the moment in time is kind of demanding that you behave in that way, that you don't give everything away, that you're not open, that you're not honest about something completely. Because it's kind of night setting as well, it kind of talks about things being in the dark, keeping things in the dark. But I get the feeling, because it's in reverse, that this is about somebody who's trying to kind of do this with yourself. And it's come out with the King of Air. Well, the King of Air is in the right, upright situation. And the King of Air for me is talking about the need to be very discerning here. Be very discerning with who you know, the information that you give out. Look very clearly. Look. Use your insight. Don't allow yourself to be, like I say, hoodwinked. Although the king often kind of, you know, he has that mastery. He has that energy of knowing who he is, but especially when he's up the right way and he knows his power, he knows his abilities, and he has the ability to see through things very clearly. He usually has a sword as well because he represents the mind, and the mind can be very cutting. And for me, this kind of front panel bit here kind of represents a sword that he's kind of holding up in front of himself as a sword of truth. So it's saying to me that you have, Virgo, the ability to kind of cut through this situation. You have the ability that you're going to have to use to see things clearly on a very insightful kind of, it's saying to me, use your logical mind, but use it in the sense of trusting what you kind of pick up. And I think it's more about what you pick up rather than what you're told. I think that's the key to this here, is that it's more about your kind of understanding of body language or the way that somebody says something, because this is air. It's also about communication as well. So little nuances that may not sit right, or maybe you notice the odd lie or something doesn't feel right, something doesn't kind of click in your brain properly. Take notice of all those kind of indications, because they could very well be important at some point, and they could stop you from being stabbed in the back about something, I feel. And this could have something to do with somebody that you know as well. So just be careful. Virgos, as you move into November, you have the energy of the Hermit in reverse. So this is kind of saying to me that there is going to be a need for you to go within and look for your answers within yourself. But because it's in reverse, there could well be a resistance, a reluctance, a kind of not wanting to go there, not wanting to see what you kind of maybe already are aware of, but you're not wanting to find that within yourself. And this could have something to do, I feel, with this situation here as well. Almost like something has knocked the wind out of your sails, almost. And that you need to kind of go within to heal and to regenerate, is the word I'm getting here. This is about regenerating. This is about you kind of, yeah, it kind of always reminds me of that state of a chrysalis, of a kind of going within and the transformation, the magic that happens inside of there. But I get the feeling this is more about you removing yourself from situations, taking yourself away from situations that you normally would find yourself in, social gatherings that you would normally want to partake in. You're kind of feeling more distant to. You're not wanting to go out and party. You're not wanting to kind of be involved with the same people, maybe even. that you're kind of moving away from a certain way of seeing things. And it's come out with the moon, which is also in reverse. And the moon card is about things being hidden, especially when it's in reverse. And it is very much the same kind of energy I get here. Both major arcana cards as well, so both big energy, big energy. This is about being kept in the dark about things like, I like to think of it as a seed that you have to plant in the dark in order for a seed to actually germinate and grow. If you put it out in the bright light of the sun and the heat, it will shrivel up and die. It can't germinate, it can't grow, it can't come into life if it hasn't got the darkness. So sometimes we need that darkness. We need that to go within and to find our balance, our true self. Because if you look here as well, there's a veil that she's kind of got here, and it's kind of in between worlds almost. It's something is being kind of kept hidden, but almost like it's there, but it's not there, if you know what I mean. It's like it's on a different energy level, on a different energy realm, and you can only find it by going within yourself, because this is about asking the big questions that you may not have asked yourself, Virgo. The big questions about life. Who am I? Why am I here? What's my purpose? What's my reason? But it is in reverse. They are both in reverse. So I do get the feeling of reluctance, resistance, kind of almost like you're being forced into having to do this because of situations that have led up to it as well. But this isn't something that you've kind of decided to take a retreat and kind of, you know, go look for yourself. This is something that's kind of almost forced upon you. And in December, we have the High Priestess in reverse, which is very similar to this energy as well. This is all about kind of inner self as well. The High Priestess going down the stairs into the underworld, which is very similar to this, because this is kind of an underworld type of energy as well, kind of going within into the inner realm, into the underworld of yourself. So it's about going below the surface of life, and this is the same kind of energy. And it also kind of has a big representation for me with the moon as well, because this is all about intuition and the cycles of life and instinct. Animals are very instinctual. They kind of react to the moon. Women especially are very kind of I won't say ruled by the moon, but kind of influenced by the moon when it comes to the menstrual cycle. And the moon, of course, has a big influence on the tides and the water in our body and our emotions. And this is also what this card is about as well. But it's come out with the King of Cups. It's come out in reverse again, this one, because I feel that, again, there's this kind of reluctance of going within, a kind of reluctance to kind of accept maybe even that you do have this side of your nature, that you are instinctual and you do pick up on things and you kind of have this psychic awareness, but you may not want to admit it to yourself. And like I say, it has come out with the King of Water, which is very much about this energy. So I feel in December that you're going to be very psychically in tune, if you like, but you may not necessarily want to see it or accept it or acknowledge it, or but I think that as you go through 2020, the situations that you're going through with your rebirth and your kind of letting go of situations and the kind of energy that's in play for you over this year, you're going to become much more open, shall we say, to the psychic kind of realm of things. Even though you may not want to be, it's almost like it's a part of the package. I'm sure there's some out there who do want to be, and some who already are, but maybe you're not listening to that inner voice enough, Virgo, because this is what this is saying to me here, is listen to that inner voice, and also not to judge what has been before by what is coming next, to see it with new eyes, to see it with an innocence, to allow an innocence, rather don't become kind of skeptical about life. Don't believe that just because it's always been one way, it's always going to stay the same way. But the King of Water here is saying to me that there is a real deep compassion within this card. This is all about counselling, all about your carers, nurturing energy. It's very much the water energy of Cancer, Scorpio and Pisces. I tend to kind of see the King of Cups very much as a Cancer energy, because it has this real compassionate energy about it. And even here, if you see here, it's kind of welcoming this little fish. It's like nothing is too small. It represents Neptune as well, which is interesting, because Neptune and Pisces is very much at home at this moment in time, and it will be. It's going to stay in Pisces for quite a few years to come. So it's completely all about like Pisces being the energy of surrender, and you've had that come up a lot as well with these hangman energies as well. This is very Piscean to me as well, the kind of energy of surrendering, letting go, surrendering and letting go, and just kind of that process of like letting things go as they come up and kind of releasing it. But the message that I get more than any other message here is this is about compassion for yourself, Virgo. Be kind to yourself. This is about compassion. Be kind to your inner child as well, because I think that this has got something to do with your inner child, healing your inner child maybe also, in order to allow this side of your understanding to actually be accepted as a part of who you are, rather than kind of hide it all the time, or ignore it, or not acknowledge it. There is a deep need here for this love and this compassion for your inner being, shall we say. And it may be that somebody you know, or somebody will come into your life who has that ability as well, somebody who's going to help teach you how to do that for yourself, because they can be great teachers as well. The King of Water. And they always teach by kind of example. So those are the energies that I have for you today, Virgo. I'm going to finish your reading there. I'm going to say I hope that it's going to be some help for you in 2020. Also, there are other readings that I've put up already. If you don't feel that this reading resonates with you, you might want to go and check out the other readings that I have put up that may fit better with your moon, your rising and your Venus sign as well. Also, if you feel that this may be of help to anybody else, please could you put it out into the greater world of YouTube, like share it with other people, because then it gets the message out there, which is what I'm trying to do. So if you also like my videos, please could you thumbs them up for me, because that makes a difference as well. That gets them out into the world of videos and YouTube world. Also, one more thing or two more things, could you subscribe to my channel, because I am trying to grow it. My purpose for 2020 is to grow this channel and to get the messages out there. And also tap the bell so that you can receive future videos that I will be putting out there regularly, and I will try and get them out there more on time than I have been able to do at the beginning of this year. I'm trying to catch up with myself, but I will be putting videos out there on a regular basis. I also do like new moon and full moon videos for the collective energies in a whole, and I've just put one out yesterday. Again, it was a bit late and I do apologise on the video for that. And I also do the bigger astrological events as well. So there are videos on my channel. If you want to go and check out any of them, please do. And hopefully I will see you back again next time, and I'm wishing you all the best for 2020, Virgo. Thank you. Take care.